Welcome back to Movie Moshow. Today we are going to review the science fiction film, Children of Men. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We upload multiple times daily. Spoilers ahead. In a brief newscast on November 16, 2027, newscasters Mishal Hussain and Rob Curling report on the situation of the world. Women have grown infertile, and there haven't been any births in 18 years. All foreigners in Britain have been proclaimed to be illegal immigrants and are being gathered up by British military troops for deportation. Most of the world's societies have crumbled. In addition, one of Baby Diego's followers killed him after he refused to sign their request for a signature. Baby Diego was the youngest person ever. He was from Argentina. In a coffee shop on Fleet Street, a bereaved and incredulous throng is watching the newscast. Theo Farron, Clive Owen, a man, walks into the coffee shop, appearing unconcerned with the throng or the news item. The business is bombed shortly after he departs and stops to add booze to his coffee. The Fishes, a clandestine guerrilla organization, are blamed for the crime. Theo is disturbed by the occurrence and leaves work early to visit his friend Jasper, Michael Caine, who lives outside of London, under the pretext that he is disturbed by Baby Diego's death. Former political activist Jasper now lives alone in a secret forest residence with his catatonic wife Janice, Philippa Urquhart, cultivating several strains of cannabis. Theo is captured by the Fishes the following day and reunited with his ex-wife, Julian, who is in charge of the gang. Since their son Dylan passed away from the flu outbreak about 20 years ago, she and Theo have not been in contact. She begins by explaining that although one of her group vehemently alleges that the government attacked the cafe in an effort to incite unrest among the Fishes, the bombing of the cafe the day before was not carried out by the Fishes. Julian requests Theo's assistance in obtaining transit papers since Theo's cousin Nigel, Danny Houston, who has connections in government, can help. When Theo sees Nigel, he is able to obtain the necessary paperwork, but they clearly specify that Theo himself must accompany the intended refugee. Theo concurs and drives to the southern coast of England with Julianne Moore, her friend Luke, Chiwetel Ejiofor, the refugee Key, Claire Hope Ashide, and her midwife Miriam, Pam Ferris. Along the journey, a sizable mob attacks them in a forest, and Julian is killed. They are stopped by the police as they attempt to depart the scene of the assault. Luke kills both police officers as they demand their papers. In the jungle, Julian is given a brief funeral. Theo temporarily leaves the service to sob in private for Julian. They are driven to a safe home on a farm where the Fishes congregate by Luke when he is able to locate another vehicle. Key tells Theo she is 8 months pregnant while they are at the farm. She also shares with Theo that Julian had advised Key to only put her trust in Theo. To decide what should be done with Key, the Fishes have a meeting. They decide that Key should remain with them until the baby is delivered, despite Theo's misgivings. The Fishes believe that the British government would abduct both Key and the child for their own political purposes, while Theo believes that the pregnancy should be made public. Key, who consents to remain in the Fishes' care, is left to make the final decision. Theo wakes up later that night to noise outside. One of the attackers that came to the safe house that day is severely injured, while the other is the sociopath Patrick, Charlie Hunnam, one of Julian and Luke's operatives. Theo overhears their chat and learns that Luke and the Fishes, who want to use the infant for their own purposes, planned both the attack on the automobile and Julian's death. Theo will be killed by Luke and the others the next day. Key and Miriam are gently roused, and he persuades them to follow him. After Theo manages to take down their other cars, they steal a car and barely manage to flee the property. They are brought to Jasper's home by Theo. While there, Jasper arranges for Key to meet the Tomorrow, a ship owned by the Human Project, a team of scientists working to revive human fertility who are headquartered in the Azores off the coast of Portugal. Key, Miriam, and Theo are allowed entry into the Bexhill immigrant camp with the assistance of Sid, a friend of Jasper's who works as an immigration officer. They will then arrange for Key to sneak into the English Channel close to Bexhill and meet the Tomorrow there. The sirens go off as the Fishes discover Jasper's hidden residence. Theo is allowed to use Jasper's automobile, and they are given a way out. Theo observes Jasper's ruthless execution by Luke when he refuses to provide the Fishes with any information from a nearby bluff. Jasper had put his wife and dog to sleep prior to the Fishes' arrival. Theo rebuffs Miriam's attempts to console him violently and commands her to get inside Jasper's car. Theo takes them to a neighboring abandoned school where they can wait for Sid while hiding out. While there, Miriam discusses the beginning of female infertility 18 years earlier and her prior employment as a midwife. When Theo utters the Jasper-arranged passphrase, "You're a fascist pig," Sid, who initially comes across as very frightening, drives the fugitives to Bexhill in his truck. Key experiences labor as they get closer to the jail facility. When they get there, Miriam pretends to have religious insanity in order to shield Key from the guards. She is then dragged off the bus, hooded, and incarcerated, but her whereabouts are kept a secret. Theo and Key enter Bexhill without anyone noticing that she is pregnant, and they encounter Marichka, one Apelia, who leads them to a dark room. When they enter the room, Key immediately gives birth to a girl. They are greeted by Marichka and Sid the following morning, who inform them that Bexhill has been the scene of an uprising. The National Guard has been dispatched to the city to maintain order after the fishes have invaded. Marichka and Sid are both shocked to see the infant. Theo is a key suspect in the attack on the road, and Sid intends to turn him in exchange for a sizable reward after seeing him on television the previous evening. They manage to flee Sid with Marichka's assistance and find a brief shelter among Marichka's people. Marichka is also accountable for guiding them to the Tomorrow at Bexhill's harbor using a boat. When Theo, Marichka, and Key enter the city, Luke and his allies find them right away. They leave after taking Key and her child. Patrick will execute Theo and Marichka. They are able to flee when a nearby conflict breaks out, dividing them. Luke departs with Key as Patrick and a couple of Luke's men start firing at the National Guard. Theo searches for Key and discovers her in a rundown apartment complex that is being attacked by the military and has many terribly injured individuals lying among the dead. Theo witnesses Patrick getting shot and killed while looking for Key and Luke. Luke, who is with Key and is firing at the British Army outside, is discovered by Theo. Luke says in a distressed voice that the infant started sobbing, and the sound really gets to him. Luke fires at Theo as he tries to remove Key and the infant. A little while later, Luke is fatally shot. Everyone who sees the infant stands in awe as Theo and Key leave the building. The fighting stops, and many of them start to pray. The two exit the structure and start to go away. Fighting picks back up. They float into Bexhill's harbor after finding their way back to Marichka and the rowboat she is keeping for them. Marichka pushes the boat out of the harbor since she won't go with them. The two arrive at the rendezvous location, which is marked by a buoy nearby. While they wait, Bexhill is being bombarded by planes flying overhead. When Key notices blood on the boat's bottom, she panics because she believes it to be her own. Theo claims that when Luke fired at him, he was struck in the abdomen. Just in time, Theo teaches Key how to burp the infant and tells him she'll name her Dylan after Theo's kid. Just as Tomorrow arrives, Theo goes unconscious. The sound of children laughing can be heard just before the final titles start to appear. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.